Thanks for joining Sales with Suli, a mom of three who spent the last 12 summers knocking doors. Welcome to my podcast where I talk about all things women, the ups and downs of my journey, and what it takes to find success on and off the doors. Enjoy this episode. Welcome back, ladies. And again, those of you gents who are trying to make more space for women on your teams or just in this industry in general, I'm kind of excited to have a returning guest here with us. Bella Esteves. What year is this for you in Door to Door?
3.
Okay, this is yes. Bella's third summer. We've had her before on like a panel of other girls when she started in the pest industry, but I've had several of you ask about like having return people come back and just like their follow-ups on what they've done in their lives since. But the reason that I'm super stoked about having Bella on this week's episode is to be able to just kind of talk about her transition from one industry to another, because I know that a lot of us women, well, more so the experienced reps, we get into the space and then we're like, do we kind of need to be here? Do we want to stay? You get kind of nervous about stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I feel like sometimes us as experienced reps, or even myself, I feel like we get complacent. That was the biggest reason why I decided that I needed to go and test out a few other industries. It was more so I needed to step out of my comfort zone and not be complacent. But before I get into that, I kind of want Bella to share her story, or just your background. Like, how old were you when you started, kind of where you're at now, and tell us some of the numbers that you've had each summer and then how you did this summer.
Yeah, so I started pest control my first year. I was 20 years old during the summer.
I was definitely like Bella is definitely one that will keep you knocking doors. I remember those times where it was just like I would see Bella's name on there. I'm like, oh, freck, let me keep going. My behind is not going to sit still. Like 20 years old and fuss and slaying it. I know.
I miss chasing you. I miss working with you for sure. So I remember signing my papers and I hadn't turned 20 yet. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 19. But my first summer, I was 20.
Wait, you were 19
when I signed. Okay. Yeah. And then, because I had signed in like December, and then obviously started selling that following summer. But yeah, so it was fun. I sold in Dallas. I serviced 282 in Pest my first year.
Her very first summer as a 20-year-old.
Yes, it was fun. I learned a lot that summer. My second year, I sold.
Your first summer, though, were you dating? Were you single?
Yeah, so I was dating. Caleb recruited me, my now fiance. We were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. He recruited me over there. He was the team leader, and so he led all the correlations and everything like that year. So it was really cool to be able to like see him step into that like role as a person.
Cool. Did you guys have a bunch of other girls on the team too, or at that time it was just you like testing it out?
No, it was me and one other girl on the team that year. Mm-hmm. She was recruited by Caleb as well, so she was with us. Yeah, yeah, I know. Look at him. But yeah, so her name was Rebecca, but it was her and I on the team my first year. I think, yeah, she finished. We both finished the summer. My second year, I stepped it up in recruiting, thankfully.
Yeah.
We had 10 women on our team. I serviced 440 that year. I don't remember.
Your second summer. So you went from 289 to 440. Mm-hmm. Tell us, what was the difference between your first summer knowing nothing, doing 289 to 440 accounts, your second summer?
I think the biggest difference in it was that I had people like that I had to be accountable to. Like when it comes to like recruits and people that I was working with.
Yeah.
I think that their constant phone calls, as I'm sure you understand, like kept me in line though. It like kept me on a schedule and made me cherish my alone time on the doors.
Yes.
That's my favorite thing. I think there was a meme I saw the other day and it was like, as soon as you like think that you have enough time, like when team leaders think that they have alone time on the doors and then there's phone calls.
Yes.
And you love it. But so I think it made me cherish my time on the doors and take it that much more seriously. Because when I was in front of a customer, I was just solely focused on whatever was in front of me, whether it was like getting a phone call from a rep or selling somebody or having a conversation with a neighbor or whatever it was, or working with service pros and things like that. So it was like I was very focused on whatever was in front of me. I didn't allow myself to have like any distractions outside of it. And so that was my biggest My biggest difference maker.
So 20 years old, did 288 accounts, and then you were 21 and ran a team or helped a co-team lead. How many people were on your team?
I think 25, I want to say. Yeah, there was a lot of us. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I get super stoked watching a lot of you young women who are actually like, you know, rising and leveling up in this industry. It's so fun to watch. What would be some advice that you would give for someone who's as young as you, like getting to the game and just like so nervous about like all of this? Like, what advice would you give to Bella her first year?
To set higher goals. I think that since I was young and since I was female and nobody else in the room looked like me when I would show up to trainings, it was almost like, so she's either going to be able to do it or she's not.
Yeah.
And so I think that constant doubt held me back a lot in the beginning. And then like once I got like my feet in place, I was really able to take off from there. But I think that just set higher goals, believe in yourself more. Like,
I love that. I think I've even like made that mistake like this year. I'm like, oh, I'm only going to do like this amount. And then it like squash. And it's like, why are we setting like limiting beliefs? And it's because we're coming into a space where we feel like we need to keep up. But it's why not like get them to keep up with us. Yeah. And I want us women to be able to have that mindset. Yeah. But with you doing so well those first 2 summers, tell us like the mindset behind wanting to transition into a different space, into a different industry, and what it was like for you this past summer.
Yeah, so I think a big thing deciding to make a transition into a different industry was my team was great. I had great leaders. It was more so like the corporate side of everything. With cancellations and Pest, I don't know. It was just a very like instant gratification kind of a sell.
Yes, very instant.
Yeah, and I don't know. I was ready for something more high caliber, ready to push myself again. I felt like,
I love it.
Okay, I had hit my goals, and I felt capped out. Like there wasn't really anything pushing me to do like greater things. Yeah. And so I wanted to go somewhere where there were bigger fish. And so it was just like being able to compete with those kind of people.
That's so awesome.
Pushes you to be better. Like,
yeah. So. What were some of the things that you took from pest control that helped you? So like, where did you, because I kept up, I mean, you weren't too like public about it, but like how did you finish the summer? Like, how did you do like going to something that you knew absolutely nothing about and like with the mindset that you had?
Well, I knew I could sell, and so it was going to be all on me. Like, I can have all the training in the world. I just knew it was going to come down to my work ethic and the amount of hours that I put into it. But no, I number 1 rep that came out of Southern Utah. I did 180 alarm accounts.
For your first year ever doing that, I think like most people who go into alarms, isn't it like less than 100 accounts?
Yeah. So company-wide, like rookie average, I think is 45 or something like that. The previous female rookie record was 103, and so I
slammed it. Okay, high five! Oh my gosh, Bella! Yeah. Of course you would. Like that is so awesome. So it was 103, and you did 180.
Yeah, I think it's like 179 point something.
Okay, I don't remember. And then add mine when I finally like close on a deal. That'll be 181.
Yeah. Yes, right. I know we need to work on that. Really.
Yes, I need to freaking do something.
All right.
But yeah, so. Tell us what it took for you, like this summer. Obviously, you knew nothing about alarms. Mm-hmm. What was like your mindset behind it? Like you're an experienced reps, and I kind of want this conversation to be more so for those of us experienced reps who are out here in the field and kind of like questioning where we're at, what we're doing, and how to make the changes.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it just fell onto like my own shoulders. So it was like lots of morning practicing, lots of late evenings practicing. I didn't miss a single blitz. I just worked hard. I think, and that's what it came down to, was just putting in the hours to relearn the sale. A lot that I took from my first 2 years of selling was more so like paraverbals and nonverbals, just because, or metaverbal communications more so, because a pest control sale and alarm sale are very different. Yeah. They're both door-to-door sales. But my average alarm sale was like 30, 45 minutes, where my average pest control sale was probably like 3 to 5 minutes.
Yes, like 5 minutes.
Right, at the very most. And so it was just like a lot of watching videos and like using the training that the company like has to offer, asking a lot of questions, reaching out. I think a lot of times females get scared to ask like males for advice or how they pitch and or what they're doing, what they're selling, or how they're selling it, or how they're approaching different things different ways. So I think I just utilized the resources around me really well. There was a lot of people in my partnership that were very high caliber reps that were just welcoming with open arms and gave me all the knowledge that I needed.
How are you like an example, or like what were some things that you do? Because obviously you had girls on the team. How are you dealing with some and even experienced girls? Like how are you dealing on days when they were having like hardships, or they were like questioning this transition, or they were just questioning if they needed to be in this space? Like how are you helping some of those ladies overcome?
Right. I don't think I had too much of like people questioning why they made the switch over from pest control. I think it was pretty obvious why the switch was made. But obviously with pest control, like I said before, it's very instant gratification and alarm. Instead of getting, well, I don't know, in pest control, I was getting 5 to 7 sales a day, right?
Yeah.
And with alarm, it's 1 or 2 a day.
Yeah.
And so, and if somebody that's not selling as well as me, it's like 3 to 5 every week if you're lucky.
Wow.
Not if you're lucky, if you worked hard.
Yeah.
I guess I should say.
You put the hours on the doors.
Yeah, if you put the hours into the doors and into the training. And so it was harder. My biggest advice for that would just be like, keep going. Like nobody's going to sell them if you're like sitting at the park. And so it's like, or sitting on the curb or going home early, or the way I always thought about it was like, once I park into a neighborhood, I feel like all eyes are on me. Yeah. Like everyone's looking out their windows, figuring out what this strange car is doing. Why is this girl in a Segway? What's the Polo? So I feel like it was like all eyes on me. So the second I got there, it's like instantly getting out of my car so that they can see I'm working hard, so that they can actually like see you in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just like a mindset thing for me, but that was it. I was like, the second I would like turn the corner into neighborhood, I was like, okay, everyone's watching what I'm doing right now, so I have to make sure that I look like I'm working hard, being professional. Because if somebody sees you sitting on the curb and then you knock on their door, like they're just not going to take you as seriously.
And I think people forget about that concept in between the doors, and the simple fact that like people are watching.
Yeah.
If you are like lazy or like moping to the next door, like if people can feel that. And so I want to kind of talk about the concept of a mindset. Like you brought up, you know, if people are like going home early, what I've like seen a lot with like experienced reps or reps who feel like they've got a couple of deals under their belt or whatnot is just kind of like this victim mentality on, you know, well, the leader is making this mistake or the company is doing this. Like they're finding every excuse or every reason why their success isn't where it needs to be. Like what would be like some advice that you're going to give to someone who's just like, oh, woe is me. Like I didn't get the amount of deals that I wanted, but also my car partner sucks. Also the team leader like sucks. Like also just everything sucks. Like in this neighborhood, most of all sucks. Like, and so because I feel like you, Bella, are similar to me. It's just like, we're going to find every reason, no matter where we're at, to find success. But what about to those few who are out there, you know, not going to go anywhere? They're not going to leave their companies. They're not going to do any of those things. Like, how do we get them out of the victim mindset?
I think just putting it all on your own shoulders. Like, if you don't like the way that your team leader is running things, then recruit enough people and run your own team.
There you go.
If you don't like the training, write your own training manual.
Let's go.
Let's not reinvent the wheel. It's not necessary. There's lots of people to learn from. But if you don't feel like you're getting it, obviously search other ways. I think that the biggest mistake that rookies make is not realizing how important it is who you sign under. I think that's industry wide is they just will, I don't know. And then they complain about, oh, so-and-so's doing this, oh, so-and-so's doing that, or they're in this neighborhood, or they're selling in this market, or I don't know, just different things like that. Like it all falls on your shoulders. Do your own research. Talk to a lot of people. Ask a lot of questions. Be annoying. I think for sure is like the biggest thing is because nobody's going to fix it for you. And nobody's going to like, the answer is always going to be no unless you ask. So like the worst thing that's going to happen is if you ask is somebody's going to tell you no and you're in the exact same spot that you're in right now.
No, I love it. And one of the biggest things for me with like a lot of people with the victim mindset and okay, well, this leader's doing this or maybe this team, because I'm sure you've seen it on yours. Like your team is probably like ran great. And then, I mean, Vivint has plenty of other teams that just probably like suck. It's going to be the same thing with mine. Like I run my team different than the rest of the teams, you know, in my solar company. And it's just like, it's super important who you're going to be going with. But it's like, how many of us like women are actually coming to the table with solutions.
Yeah.
Like how many of us individuals on a team are like, hey, I think that we should implement this, or like you go do it yourself and show the success.
Yeah.
And it's going to open up a little bit more eyes, or people who are going to want to make the same changes that you're doing.
Yeah.
But I just want to like commend you for doing alarms. I remember when I was in pest control, that was like the biggest thing that they would do is just talk about like how big the fallout was in alarms. But I look at you and some of your reps, the simple fact that a lot of you guys were experienced is why you guys did a lot better than several of these other teams who just had like a bunch of rookies. When I accidentally, got into solar, I went and did a blitz for alarms, and I was like, screw this. And so I am like sitting here in front of you and like thinking about the 180 deals that you did, never doing alarm or never having done alarms before that. And that is just an amazing feat to be able to have. And so I know for me, like looking at you and where you came from, a lot of it has to do with your mindset. A lot of it has to do with your training. But before we get off, like, just, I want to know, like, what are some things that you've been able to accomplish in the door-to-door space as an experienced reps? Like, what are some things that you and Caleb were able to do, like, financially or get rid of, or like, because of door-to-door, how has your life been blessed?
Oh my gosh. So much has changed. So we bought our first house this last March. It's in Ivand. I couldn't ask for any. I like think about my life and I pinch myself because it's like what I wanted as a little girl. I didn't come from a family of money, and so it's been great. So we did purchase our first house. We just barely closed on our investment property in Tulum.
Where's Tulum?
It's in Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Is it like a vacation spot? Or
yeah.
So
it's a vacation home. It's being built right now. I don't think it'll be done until January. So we were able to do that. It was great to be able to, since we got our house before summer, we were able to turn it into an Airbnb while we were gone.
That's so cool.
So able to like create that kind of, because we were making money even if we didn't sell that day. So like that relieved a lot of pressure too. Was like we had residual money coming in. Because we've worked our butts off for 2 years before that. So that was really great. I hired family members to clean the house for the Airbnb.
That's
so
awesome.
It was like putting money back in like my family's pockets too.
I love it.
Which felt really good. Yeah. But just financial freedom. Caleb's back in school. We're planning our wedding for April. And
you won't have to take out any loans
no.
for it. You
oh my gosh,
make it the way that
No.
And I know like coming from like alarms and checking people's credits and stuff like that, we're like so super like skeptical about like our finances and keeping a clean record. I bet.
Right? Watching that stuff because it matters.
Yes.
And I think I'm super passionate about the public education system and how it's like faulted a lot of people and not even knowing how to build your credit from a young
What do you
age.
mean like the public just like schools and stuff?
Yes, just like
yeah.
We
don't talk about like credit. We don't talk about how to open a bank account. Like I'm sitting in front of like women who don't know that you can create different apps for your freaking bank, for savings, for this, for that. I'm like, all the things that I learned in school did nothing from
No. Fun fact, there's 6 states in the U.S. that require a financial literacy course to graduate high school. Okay, so 6 out of the 50. Utah's one of them.
Wow.
We require 1 semester.
1 semester?
We are failing our youth, Zuli. It makes me upset.
Oh my gosh. I am going to go and study this. Like, what a freaking, like, fun fact.
Yeah, it's, like, something I'm super passionate about is the public education system. When I'm in school, that's, like, what I do a lot of, like, my research on and stuff. I would love to be able to, like, open up a charter school one day. That's, like, my big goal in life.
I love it.
But, yeah, no, we fail our youth. And I was able to see that going, like, running people's credit in the summer.
Yeah.
And they fail, and you're like, you got 5 kids, like, and you can't, like, it's not, like, an alarm system it's not a car.
No.
It's not.
It's not a solar deal.
Yeah, not a solar deal. I know, I commend you.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, I look at like some of these people and I question, but then I'm also like questioning myself and like the people on the team, like how I want to give back and be able to teach some of these people the importance of credit and finances and money, and not just spending to keep up with the rest of the sales reps or your team leader or your CEO in the company. Like, go put that crap into an investment somewhere.
You don't need the cool shoes.
No.
Until your like money can like work for you and buy you the cool shoes, then buy the cool shoes.
Yes, buy the Lululemon. Like, I'm not degrading anyone.
No. Okay, but I get a discount at Lulu. I'm a fan. Like,
I know people in door-to-door love their Lulu, whereas I'm wearing my like $10 Walmart leggings like daily.
Okay, I wore the same Lulu shorts so my first 3 summers. Okay, so I like got my use out of them. Sun faded and all. I like threw away 2 of the pairs after this summer because they're just done. They got some hours.
She's like, I'm making sure
they're not shorts anymore. They're like paper thin. So I
love it. And I love hearing and seeing like what women are just doing in the space, like looking at you like so young, and the simple fact that you're making it happen. There's so many. I mean, for myself, I didn't even start investing until like 5 years ago, and I'm like 36. And so to see like 20-year-olds and 22-year-olds, I hope that people like yourself are finding mentors. And obviously you must have one, or else you wouldn't be investing and making all the right financial decisions with your money.
Yeah, we have a lot of like great people in our lives, from like Caleb's parents to even just friends that are in the real estate business and like financial advisors and things like that. We're really fortunate. I really have a great community.
That's so cool.
So I can't...
Tell me, what is your like end goal? Like, why is it that you're in door to door? Like, what do you want to do ultimately? Like, what do you want to do next summer? What's your big goal? I want to manifest it.
Yeah. So my big goal next summer for like our team, I want to do 1,500.
1,500. So what's like, because I'm like, you know, some people might listening is like, well, 1,500. So tell us how 1,500 scales to the alarm. Like, what's the average per team, or like whatnot, so we can understand.
So on average, right, so I said rookies are doing average 40 to 45 per person. 1,500, what do they say? I know that in pest control they tell you it's like 3.7 to 1, but it was like I did 440 and then 180, so I don't know where that number comes from. But it's where you become area director, is what they call it. And so it's where stock and residual starts at 500 accounts, but so it just adds on. Like just the bonuses get bigger, the pay scale goes up.
Cool.
So 1,500 accounts. I would love to do 300 personal. I'm scared of that big goal, though.
No, we're gonna follow back up with freaking Bella next summer, and we're gonna cheer her on for her 300. Because I think I followed someone that I'm gonna have on here, but I think that they're a team that was like their goal was everyone to do 300. But what does 300 do? Like, what's the income for 300? What's the cool thing about hitting 300 in alarms?
So 300 in personal alarms or 300 in recruited alarms?
Personal.
Okay, so personal, you've hit maxed out pay scale. Because the biggest thing that attracted me to alarm was that everybody's on the same pay scale. Cool. There's no like negotiating deals, like just because you're better friends with someone or just because you signed under someone else. There's not like...
So the transparency.
Yes, the transparency is 100%. So you max out the pay scale at 300 personal. I think you actually max out at like 275 is where it gets fully maxed out.
Cool.
But other than that, it's just extra trips, extra clout. Really.
So, but at 300 alarm accounts, what could someone make off of 300?
Oh, off of 300 personal accounts?
Yep.
I would expect I make like 270.
That is awesome.
Yeah, 270,000.
300 deals to make 270,000 in a summer. Like, at 24 years old, Bella, you're going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay? No, absolutely.
Like, I am so stoked for like the investments and the things that you're going to do next summer after you definitely hit it. That's exciting. And I just feel like we don't talk enough about the blessings and what door to door is doing for us, that more of us are just like scared to even start. And I just want to thank you for just like sharing just your transition and the simple fact of like, if you've got the right mindset, if you put in the work ethic, which it sounds like you obviously have, and have someone that you're going to be accountable to. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the reason for my success is I have like a million people who are looking at me. So
You're
it's just like either like fail and sit your ass down or level the hell up.
Right.
And so I'm like stoked just hearing about like reps just like you in different industries, because it continues to want me to do better and be better and continue to level up. But thanks for just taking the time. But if there's any tips or any advice that you want to leave for just reps in general, what would that be?
Dream bigger. Want more out of yourself. Everybody is always going to think like nobody's ever going to see your true potential. Like, only I think you really know the caliber that you hold.
Yeah.
So I think believe in yourself and dream bigger. Set bigger goals.
I love that. I watched this. It was a reel of Snoop Dogg that went around, and he said, last but not least, I want to thank me for believing in me.
Yes.
I want to thank me for all the hard work that I did behind the closed doors. I want to thank myself for believing in myself when other people didn't. And I want to have that mindset on this next coming summer, in the simple fact of like, I want to be thankful for the hard work that I put in, but how is that going to happen if we just don't dream bigger?
Right? Everyone always wants to say like, oh, she's just gifted. Oh, she just ate that. She just has it in her cereal. I'm like,
my cereal must be like broken.
Yeah, right? Because, it's lots of hard hours that nobody sees. Like it's the late nights, it's the early mornings, it's the consistency when you don't want to do it. This job sucks.
And we spend so much
bad. Yeah, we spend so much time glamorizing it that it's like, people are surprised when they don't study and don't get sales.
Right.
They're surprised. I'm like, oh, no, it's not very glamorous.
I freaking love you. For those of you in alarms or just in the door-to-door industry, period, Bella is definitely an awesome mentor, definitely an awesome example to be able to have in your life. Tell us where we can reach you on your IG.
Oh, Bella, BELLA_Estevez. ESTEVES.
Yeah. So any of you girls in the alarm industry or in the alarm space or just wanting to reach out to Bella, like she'll definitely be able to give you some good tips.
Yeah, no, I'm always happy to just even talk to fellow women in this space. I know I talk to a lot of you guys over summer when you're throughout different industries, when you're struggling with different things. And so my end goal with this, you asked that, was just to be able to impact more people's lives, like change people's lives. Because I wasn't ready for this, and now that I'm here, I'm like ready to bring other people up with me.
Right.
You don't want to be the only one.
I could go on for hours in how often we want to bring people up, but they have to want it too.
I know. That's the hard part. Is sometimes you want it more for them than they want it for themselves.
Yeah. I'm no longer like being desperate and reaching out to those people who you're like, hey, come and enjoy this lifestyle. Like they already have to want it.
Yeah. I'm not begging anyone to come out.
Right.
Like, this is a blessing. Like if you don't see it, that's okay.
Yes.
It's not for you.
Yes. We need to look at this space as exactly that. It's a blessing. It's either for you or not for you. But if it is, like, come on over.
Right. And somebody else's success doesn't take away from your own. So.
It's true. Like for you to have like 1 billion doors over there, for you to do 180 accounts, and for me to be where I'm at and be like the number one rep too. Like this space is like, there should not be scarcity, period.
Oh my gosh, never. I'm like, we've knocked the same neighborhoods year after year after year, and these people still don't know what we are. I'm like, oh my gosh.
They're like, they don't even know who we are.
Yeah.
Bella, I love you. I look up to you, even though you're a lot younger than me. Like, just thanks for all that you do for like women and just for us in this space. And again, any of you guys that want to reach out to Bella, go ahead and do so. And just remember, dream big and know that there's enough space for all of us at the top.
Thanks so much for having me. You're awesome.
Thanks for taking the time to tune in. If I've added any kind of value to your thoughts on knocking doors, please share this podcast with another female rep. Until next time, know that you are capable, you are valued, and most importantly, you are enough.